When telescopes detected these pulsed signals which sounded like this, at first they thought it was a technical malfunction, but after multiple checks, it became clear. The source is far beyond our solar system. Its signal is different from most known cosmic phenomena, and still remains one of the most intriguing mysteries of modern astronomy. What's behind this phenomenon?
How do you feel about signals received from space? Are you skeptical or hopeful? Or maybe you're scared by the prospect of ending up in a situation like the one described in the 1996 movie Independence Day, and you really don't want to look up at the sky one day and see an armada of hostile alien ships? Ha! Hubble. Subscribe. Despite everything, astronomers continue to search for exoplanets, and their equipment occasionally detects signals of unknown origin. Just recently, on June 10, 2024, Australian scientists Emil Lang and Manisha Caleb recorded something amazing. A signal whose origin and structure are almost impossible to explain. What is it? Another fake? Absolutely not. The results of the event were immediately published in the respected journal Nature Astronomy. The report states that the Australian telescope caught an extraterrestrial signal lasting a long 54 minutes. It was immediately named after the telescope that recorded the event, ASKAP J 1935 plus 2140. The unusual clarity of the signal was immediately noticeable. There are many objects in the universe that emit exotic signals and pulses, but they are usually characterized by a very high frequency, like those coming from rapidly spinning neutron stars. Here, however, the situation is completely different. The signal is an interesting mix. First, there's a short pulse, then an eerie silence, and the third part consists of long pulses lasting up to 50 seconds, with linear polarization. It is the ending of this signal from an unknown source that confuses scientists. The thing is, the third part of this strange message doesn't match any signal we've ever received before. If it could be heard, it would sound something like this. Subtitles by Dima Torzak. Who or what could be making it? The main characteristic of the final third of the recorded signal is how unnatural it is. What do scientists mean by that? To explain, let's use a clear example. The Earth, like any object in space, emits certain waves. Since our planet is inhabited by intelligent beings who have created countless devices over the centuries, Earth's messages into space are fundamentally different from, for example, those from the moon. Such signals can be called the fingerprint of planet Earth, which, against the background of radiation from a lifeless celestial body, would look unnatural. The Earth's aura is a kind of jumble of billions of different impulses, ranging from your favorite TV show to the echoes of high-precision equipment at work. How did we find out that it is Earth that emits into space? The probe Odysseus told us about this. What is this mission about? This is the first private spacecraft in history to land on our satellite. But even though the landing was soft, it did not make the mission successful. Sometime after landing, Odysseus tipped over onto its side and continued to observe the surroundings from this awkward position, since its instruments did not shut down. It's unknown what benefits the probe will bring in the future, but as it approached the moon, it had already helped Earth astronomers. The thing is, as the spacecraft descended, it turned its antenna toward Earth, and in this way, scientists heard the cacophony of sounds we send into space. Why do you need this information? Think about it. Could the unusual signal, ASKAP J 1935 plus 2148, be the same kind of cacophony as in the case of Earth's fingerprint? So, does that mean we finally caught signals from a celestial body inhabited by intelligent beings? Manisha Caleb, one of the authors of the study, is confident that such a signal is unlikely to have come from a single object. Among other likely sources, magnetars or white dwarfs are also suggested. The area from which the signal was received is quite populated. There are many neutron stars, black holes, and other galactic monsters there. Therefore, each of them could be a likely source of the ASKAP J1935 plus 2148 signal. However, let's look at this situation from another perspective. In statistics, there is a term called survivorship bias. In short, it's a cognitive bias that gives the researcher a distorted picture of a phenomenon or experiment. Applied to signals from space, this means that there might actually be many more of these galactic greetings. But we only caught one because we weren't specifically looking for signals with those characteristics. How do you like that, Elon Musk? By the way, it wasn't about Musk. No doubt he will definitely share his opinion about the recently received signal. But earlier, at one of the conferences, the billionaire clearly stated his position regarding the existence of extraterrestrial life in general. He chose the language of facts and informed the public that not one of the 6,000 Starlink satellites has ever had to change its trajectory or mode of operation during their entire existence as a result of any external event or encounter with something extraterrestrial. From this, Elon Musk concluded that at least in Earth's orbit, there are absolutely no extraterrestrials. But that's near Earth, and the universe isn't limited to the vicinity of our planet, and the ASKAP J1935 plus 2148 signal came from far away. Can we draw any conclusions about the existence of extraterrestrials based on the data we've obtained? And, to use the words of the famous physicist Enrico Fermi, where is everybody? There are more than 50 explanations for the Fermi paradox, but many of them have become outdated over time. Now, scientists tend to favor their main justification. The first one goes like this: extraterrestrials do exist, but they are too far away from us, so to speak, out of the range of our equipment. The second explanation is more uncomfortable to accept. It goes like this: Earth is a global zoo. In other words, we are simply being observed from the outside. The theory of a cosmic scale zoo was first proposed by the astronomer John Ball. He claimed that the universe is inhabited by intelligent beings who are more intellectually advanced than we are. That is why they are in no hurry to make direct contact with us, but prefer to observe humans as if we were animals in a zoo. By the way, the idea of such observation also appears in Stephen King's novel Under the Dome. And although the work focuses more on the nuances of human interaction with each other while being in an enclosed space, at the end of the novel, Stephen King describes contact between representatives of humanity and the aliens who are observing those under the dome. What do you think about all this? Is it possible that we are under constant observation by beings who are immeasurably more intelligent and advanced than us? Then who sent the ASKAP J1935 plus 2148 signal? Earthlings themselves have also sent messages into space more than once. Remember the message from Arecibo. This strange message was sent from the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico in November 1974. It contained information that was completely incomprehensible to an ordinary person and shown schematically. Therefore, it cannot be ruled out that aliens, upon receiving such a message, did not understand anything from it, just like us. Would you like the ASKAP J1935 plus 21 signal to actually come from a densely populated planet? Or maybe you secretly expect the aliens to arrive on Earth soon. According to the Blue Beam conspiracy theory, this will happen as early as 2024, which means the invasion is literally on our doorstep. Supporters of the theory are convinced that soon an armada of spaceships will appear in the sky above Earth, which in reality will be a giant hologram. Inside it, there will be fighter jets actually destroying peaceful cities. You might ask, why is this simulation created with the help of satellites necessary? Adherents of the Blue Beam theory believe that this way it will be much easier to control humanity, and by simulating an alien invasion, the world government will try to establish a new social order. If you remove the fighter jets from this scenario and imagine real alien ships instead, the picture doesn't get any better. But let's get back to the extraterrestrial signal received by the Australians. What could it be? In addition to likely cosmic sources, there could also be earthly causes involved in the origin of the pulses. There have been cases where ultra-sensitive equipment mistook noise and vibrations from a passing truck or pulses from a microwave oven for extraterrestrial signals. However, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, there can be no doubt about the authenticity of the signal received by the Australian Observatory. The only problems arise with its interpretation. What are the chances of intelligent life existing in space at all? Should we expect meaningful signals from extraterrestrials? From a mathematical point of view, as a result of recent research, the picture is more optimistic than scientists previously thought. It is believed that if you reset Earth to its factory settings, primitive life would still eventually appear on it. As for intelligent life, here the probability drops significantly, reaching 45%. Mathematicians got about the same result regarding the emergence of life in the universe, especially in its intelligent forms. So it's not so foolish to expect purposeful signals from space. The question is, are we capable of understanding who is trying to tell us something and what they want to say? What awaits humanity in terms of monitoring the universe for intelligent life in the future? Orbital telescopes are capable of answering this question. These devices, operating in Earth's orbit, can look back to the very beginning of the universe. They will definitely help us find at least a trace of extraterrestrial life. Right now, James Webb is working tirelessly on these and other tasks, but in the future, we can expect an incredible breakthrough in this field. The fact is, in 2014, construction began on an overwhelmingly large telescope. And that's not just a figure of speech. The device is actually named that way. Overwhelmingly Large Telescope, OWL. It is believed that the larger the telescope's mirror, the more effective it is. So, the OWL has a mirror diameter of 100 meters. That means its disk could fit almost all the mirrors of ground-based telescopes that exist today. Given the extreme complexity of building such a device, engineers had to divert their attention to less ambitious projects. But sooner or later, the stunningly large telescope will still make it into Earth's orbit, so there's no need to lose hope. If not us, then our children or grandchildren will definitely see the first detailed photographs of extraterrestrial worlds, exoplanets of gas giants, and will also receive and decipher the cherished alien messages. While the Hubble channel listens to signals from space, we suggest you subscribe to our channel and give it a big like. Wishing everyone exciting discoveries. COVID, geopolitical conflicts, aliens are the only thing missing from the full set. Only the lazy haven't said this phrase, and now the collective prophecy is finally starting to come true. In any case, lately we've been discovering strange objects in the universe more and more often, and we're struggling to interpret signals that hint humanity still has a lot to learn. What exactly was discovered in the field of astronomy at the beginning of 2024? When astrophysicists analyzed the data provided by the Fermi gamma-ray telescope, they discovered a strange signal coming from deep space, from somewhere beyond the Milky Way. This finding puzzled the specialists because they still cannot fully explain it. First of all, the reason is that its strength and power far exceed any signals we have ever detected. It is simply monstrous. What could it be? The Fermi telescope has been observing gamma radiation for 13 years straight. The discovery happened, as always, by accident, because the scientists were looking for something else and expected to find it in a completely different sector of the sky. The work was being carried out in the field of studying cosmic microwave radiation, which is also called relic radiation. It is considered the oldest, literally fossil light in the universe. Instead, in a different part of the sky where such phenomena should not exist, astronomers discovered a monstrous burst. Let's start by defining what gamma rays are. These are super powerful bursts, so intense that the human eye can't even detect them. Detection is only possible with special equipment. The speed of such radiation is approximately equal to the speed of light, and its nature is similar to X-rays. If a deadly ray were directed toward Earth, it would sterilize the surface of our planet for centuries. Why do gamma ray bursts occur? Sometimes it's a result of the presence of active galactic nuclei or quasars in space. and sometimes pulsars hint at their existence this way. A gamma-ray burst can also be caused by a supernova explosion, the activity of radio galaxies, or even the detonation of a nuclear warhead. So what exactly did the Fermi telescope and its LAT scanner discover? What event in deep space left such a noticeable trace? Scientists are puzzled, and at the same time, one of the hypotheses for the appearance of such a powerful signal is that it could be ultra-high-energy cosmic rays. We're talking about quanta whose power is measured in billions of giga-electron volts. It is these that are hypothetically capable of creating flashes of incredible magnitude. It is believed that they carry 1 billion times more energy than ordinary gamma rays. This is the greatest mystery in astronomy that no one has been able to solve yet. What's more, no one could have imagined that the hunt for relic radiation, which appeared shortly after the Big Bang when photons gained the ability to move freely, would lead to such a result. But what could have accelerated the particles to such hellish speeds? Astronomers are sure that natural sources of acceleration are different from man-made ones. That is, there may be something in space that is quite capable of accelerating particles to extreme levels. By the way, it's worth noting that the concept of a signal from space doesn't always mean some specific encrypted message, like the WOW signal received in 1977. Anything that deviates from the conventional norm is considered a signal. And what the Fermi telescope detected fits this definition perfectly. Astronomers also associate this gamma-ray burst with the one that was discovered in 2017 by the Argentine Observatory. Its power and structure are somewhat similar, which is the basis for these conclusions. By the way, if the gamma-ray burst that was discovered in 2024 could be turned into sound, it would sound something like this. Why do astronomers study such phenomena? They see this as an opportunity to look into the processes that took place in the universe at the very beginning, literally in the first trillionths of a second after its birth. Thus, in short, this discovery forces scientists to question the traditional concept of an isotropic universe, which turns our understanding of the world surrounding Earth upside down. But those weren't the only surprises in astronomy in 2024. In mid-January, scientists discovered a ring of galaxies almost 10 billion light-years from Earth, located in the constellation Volapus. Earlier, in 2021, an arc of galaxies was discovered in relative proximity to this object, with a length of 3 billion light-years, or 1,000 megaparsecs. Just think about it. If this structure could be seen with the naked eye, it would look 20 times larger than the moon in our sky. And not just our satellite, the arc is more than twice the size of the Sloan Great Wall, a mega cluster of galaxies that, along with the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall, was previously considered the conventional limit for cosmic superstructures. And now 3 years later, the scientific community was awaiting a second astonishing discovery. What is the diameter of the discovered necklace of galaxies? No more, no less, an entire 1.3 billion light-years. Under the conditions mentioned above, this ring would appear 15 times larger than the moon in our sky. What hypotheses do scientists propose in this case? The most popular explanations are string theory and baryon acoustic oscillations. To put it simply, the term refers to ripples in the fabric of space, its bends, folds, and other intricate patterns, which can also create arcs, arches, and rings of galaxies. There is only one inconsistency. If the theory were correct, the size of the objects should be much smaller. At the same time, the previously discovered arc and the galactic ring can be considered partial confirmation of string theory. The second hypothesis refers to the cyclic universe theory of Roger Penrose and Vahagan Gurzadian. These scientists developed a cosmological model of the universe that dies and is literally reborn from nothing, meaning it lives in cycles. How does Penrose think this happens? After the Big Bang, matter and all objects in the universe expand until literally nothing remains, and the very concept of scale loses meaning. The resulting void or emptiness collapses again, becomes a singularity, and everything repeats itself. You may ask, what do the discovered objects have to do with this? Astronomers believe that events like the cyclic nature of the universe cannot help but leave traces, and judging by the mega size of the structures, they are excellent candidates for this role. So, are we witnessing the scars of the Big Bang right now? There are also other theories, even more fantastic. They are based on the fact that the mega structures are located relatively close to each other. So theoretically, they could be part of some even more grandiose formation that we have not yet identified. What conclusions can be drawn after the discovery of the anomalous gamma burst and the strange ring of galaxies found in the depths of space? As for the first one, scientists are now trying to determine the source of this signal to understand its nature. Could there have been some kind of error in the telescope's observation? However, astrophysicists did their best to filter out possible interference caused by objects in the Milky Way in order to completely rule out any misinterpretation of the data. Be that as it may, we still live in a world we know almost nothing about, much like in the Dark Ages, since everything around us is based on guesses and half-formed theories. Write your theories in the comments about what could have triggered such a powerful gamma-ray burst, and also try to solve the mystery of the ring-shaped mega structure that scientists discovered this year. What if it's not a galaxy, but for example a sphere or a Dyson swarm of monstrous size, and the gamma-ray burst is an echo of some kind of cosmic battle? And yes, we're not going to limit your imagination, only encourage it. Subscribe to the Hubble channel if you haven't done so yet, and share the video with your friends. It wouldn't be fair if they missed out on such epical events. Voyager 1. We've already talked about this amazing spacecraft more than once on this channel. For many years, it has held the title of the most distant man-made object from Earth in space. Now, Voyager 1 is 24 billion kilometers away from our planet. The spacecraft was launched on September 5, 1977, and of course, not everything could go smoothly during its mission. Voyager 1 has had problems, and for the past few months, there has been no news from the spacecraft. It was obvious that some kind of malfunction had occurred. Considering Voyager's rather advanced age, such a turn of events is not surprising. And then, after a long silence, the spacecraft finally sent us a signal. How did this happen? What was the nature of the malfunction? And has the problem really been completely fixed? NASA scientists had been working hard to fix the spacecraft's issues before this, but it involved a lot of difficulties. First of all, since Voyager is already quite old, the technology used to build it is long outdated, and the situation hasn't changed much even after several system updates. To give you an idea of the scale of the problem, Voyager's systems are capable of processing 8,000 commands per second, while our smartphones can handle 100 billion commands per second. Secondly, this leads to another problem. The team that worked on Voyager in the early stages has long since moved on. Modern scientists had to work really hard, studying archival documents. Figuring out how the spacecraft's systems function was no easy task. To understand the nature of the malfunction, we'll tell you a bit about the Voyager computers themselves. They operate using the binary number system. It uses 2 bits to transmit information, in simple terms, the numbers 0 and 1. 0 and 1 can form different combinations to transmit information, for example, in the form of images or sound signals. Just think about it, so much diverse data reaches us thanks to these 2 numbers. Although, it should be clarified that before being sent to Earth, the data is transformed into a modulated carrier signal. This type of signal can carry information. The data also reaches Earth thanks to a system of radio antennas located in different parts of our planet. This system is called DSN, or simply the Deep Space Network. It is necessary to ensure the uninterrupted reception of information from all spacecraft and to prevent problems that may arise due to the rotation of the planet. There are 3 computers on board the spacecraft, and the malfunction was with one of them. We're talking about the FDS computer, the Flight Data System. It is especially important for us because it collects data about the observed area of space and about the functioning of the spacecraft itself. It is the FDS that transmits this information to the TMU modulation and telemetry unit, which in turn processes it and sends it to Earth. And the last time, the modulation and telemetry system sent us a rather strange signal, which was just an unreadable mass of numbers. The scientists realized that the FDS system was malfunctioning and distorting the data. Such situations are not uncommon with spacecraft, and then they simply restart the system using the well-known method of turning it off and on again. In most cases, this helped. That's how they once fixed malfunctions with the Hubble telescope and with Voyager 2 back in 2010. The same procedure was done with Voyager 1. However, after the reboot, the FDS system still didn't start working correctly. The scientists had to study huge amounts of information about the Voyager systems and their development process in search of a solution. Then a hypothesis emerged that the problem was in the microchip. To find out if this was really the case, the scientists launched the so-called poke command, which allows direct interaction with the system's hardware by changing the necessary parameters. With the help of the poke command, information processing was started in a different order inside the FDS system. When the scientists received a new batch of data, they compared it with the data that had been obtained before the malfunction occurred. It was obvious that formatting was no longer happening the way it used to, and then it turned out that one of the microchips had stopped working. This caused damage to about 3 memory units of the FDS system, which also contained important program code. This is a serious malfunction that can't be fixed by simply turning it off and on again. It was quite difficult to find a solution, since replacing the microchip was simply impossible. Then the scientists thought about moving that important program code to another memory area that wasn't damaged. However, it was impossible to implement, since no compartment was large enough to fit it. The scientists resorted to extreme measures. They decided to split the code into several parts so they could move them to other cells while still preserving their functionality. This process took quite a lot of time, so the scientists could properly replace some components of the code. It was important to separate the part that was responsible for information about the technical specifications of the device. On April 18th, it was moved to another compartment. After that, Voyager was given the command to prepare data for transmission to Earth again. The scientists were eagerly waiting for them, because they were the answer to the question of whether the malfunction had been fixed. And then, on May 20th, the big day arrived. Everything really worked out, and now the scientists could monitor the condition of all Voyager's components. To celebrate this event, NASA made a post on its page saying, "Hello, it's me." However, that's not all. The malfunctions aren't fully fixed yet. The scientists still have the second part of the work ahead of them, so that the FDS system can collect data from outer space and process it correctly. Right now, NASA continues to transfer codes to the undamaged FDS memory sections. The information from Voyager 1 is very important to us because it is very far from our planet and can study phenomena such as cosmic rays, which we cannot investigate with other spacecraft. Despite the fact that Voyager 1 is moving farther and farther away from us, and we are facing more and more obstacles, the spacecraft continues its mission. Most likely, both Voyagers will run out of power after 2025. After that, they will travel alone through the vastness of the universe, having lost all contact with Earth. There is a chance that in 40,000 years, Voyager 1 will be near the star Gliese 445 in the constellation Camelopardalis. However, we on Earth will never know about it. Perhaps humanity will no longer exist by then. Watching the two Voyagers, we often think about how much hard and painstaking work went into these spacecraft. Both the scientists of the 70s and our contemporaries put a lot of effort into this project. The Voyagers have secured a permanent place in space science. And what do you think? Will we receive any more news from these spacecraft? The ASKAP radio interferometer, which is located in Western Australia, has started detecting a repeating signal. It appeared at a periodic rate of once every hour, and the properties of the signal changed from time to time. So where does this signal come from? From a white dwarf? or from a neutron star. At the same time, the characteristics of the signal themselves don't even hint at that. So what is it then? Is it interference from research equipment, from unknown cosmic objects? Or is it an attempt by extraterrestrial civilizations to contact us? As you already know, in space we can't detect sound signals because it's a vacuum out there. However, our research probes detect other types of signals, such as radio, X-ray, and gamma electromagnetic signals. Only then do they convert the received data into audio tracks. Most often, the signals we receive are quite trivial and have been studied for a long time. However, in the case of the ASKAP telescope, everything was different. The signal it received behaved differently from other similar ones. Sometimes the pulses were weak, sometimes strong, and in some cases there were none at all. The scientists named this signal J1935 + 21448. A detailed study revealed that the direction of the signal is not constant. It changes depending on the point in space through which the signal passes. These are called circularly polarized waves. Scientists also soon discovered that the object emitting the signal has 3 phases, which affects its characteristics. The first phase lasts from 10 to 50 seconds, producing linearly polarized pulses. The second phase lasts about 370 milliseconds. Then the strength of the pulses noticeably decreases. The third type is the absence of pulses. This 3-phase signal repeats every 54 minutes. The signal source is considered one of the slowest objects. However, we actually know nothing about its origin. Scientists have several theories about this. The object could be either a white dwarf or a neutron star. There are many gaps in this theory, which come down to the fact that we don't know how such objects create such specific signals, even though they often have longer rotation periods. All of this can't fit into a 54-minute cycle. An alternative explanation could be that the object is part of a binary star system. In this case, the rotation happens around another star hidden from us. The signal could be altered by the interaction with the magnetic fields of both objects, but there are inconsistencies here as well. If we're talking about neutron stars, they rotate with a period of a second or even less. It's very difficult for them to increase their rotation period. If there's a white dwarf instead of a neutron star, then we can get the required rotation period. However, we face the problem that we don't know how such an object emits these kinds of radio signals. And now we come to the most interesting theory. These strange signals are of artificial origin. Simply put, they are being sent to us by representatives of an unknown extraterrestrial civilization. To understand how viable this theory is, let's go back to the past, to the year 1977. At that time, a radio telescope called the Big Ear detected a signal with unusual characteristics. It was named the WOW signal. One of the researchers wrote this on the decoding sheet, and for quite a long time a popular theory was that it was sent to us by aliens. After decoding, the duration of the signal was found to be 72 seconds. It was a one-time event and never repeated. Scientists couldn't determine the exact location of the signal's source. However, they did pinpoint the direction from which we received the signal, from the constellation Sagittarius, not far from the center of the Milky Way, where there are many galactic objects. Later, using data from the Gaia telescope, they found 15 potential stars that could have been the source of the radio waves. The most likely star was called 2MASS 192/81/982, which is located 1,800 light years away from us. After the WOW signal was detected in 1977, a huge number of radio telescopes tried to detect it again. The last time was in 2022. A detailed study of 15 possible candidate stars was conducted, but no sufficiently strong signal was found. Also, there were no exoplanets along the way. However, we learned that there was a source of artificial radiation near these stars. During this time, the signal could have repeated if it were stationary, meaning its source would have remained in the same place. Therefore, there is a suggestion that the signal came from a spacecraft that was moving at high speeds. If the signal really comes from representatives of an extraterrestrial civilization, then it could appear anywhere at all. So why isn't the alien hypothesis dismissed right away? In digital communication, incoming data is always encoded. Without understanding the basics of how the code was created, a message can't be decoded and is hard to distinguish from ordinary cosmic noise. But at the same time, researchers are sure that any code can be decrypted if you have a sufficient part of the message. And here's an example. During World War II, the British managed to decrypt the German Enigma code by figuring out that the message contained information about a pursuit. That's why they use the word weather to break the code. Similar signals from pulsars, which are always present in outer space and well known to us, can serve as guides or markers for extraterrestrial messages. Researchers believe that aliens might use pulsars for navigation in space, and this could become a key tool in decoding their signals. Nevertheless, even the authors of the hypothesis admit that aliens' perception of the universe may differ significantly from ours. The method might be too complicated or, on the contrary, too simple for them. More time and data are needed to understand the nature of this mysterious radio signal. Whether it's neutron stars, pulsars, white dwarfs, or an alien spaceship. Although the latter seems like pure science fiction, we definitely need to be patient. The study of signals coming to us from space is an incredibly fascinating topic, full of unsolved mysteries that have been puzzling scientists and enthusiasts around the world for many years. However, we have a long way to go, and will need to make an incredible amount of effort to understand their nature and unravel the mysteries hidden from us in these radio waves. Each new study brings us closer to the answer, but it will take much more time and effort to fully understand. Or is it just our imagination that we're making progress in this matter? Will we ever be able to uncover all the secrets of these mysterious signals and understand what they mean? Only time will tell. Well, Earthlings, this isn't the end of the video. We still have some very interesting and truly spectacular episodes ahead of us. But for me to keep delighting you with all the wonders of outer space, I need your feedback. You can express it quite simply. All you need to do is leave a like on this video, since we simply don't have any other likes, and continue the phrase, "I know." This way, you'll let me know that we're moving in the right direction. Stay tuned.